Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. This is week 11 of the 12 weeks of Halloween, and we are going to start by scoring today. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of basic white cardstock. I am scoring it at every half an inch the full way down the sheet with my scoring tool. This is the Simply Scored scoring board. I'll make sure that I have all of the information in the project sheet. It's going to be pretty simple this week. So just every half an inch. Now you can vary your, if you want this a quarter inch, a half an inch, 1 inch, whatever you want. I'm going to go with a half an inch. And once you have scored your full sheet, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into 2-inch strips. Okay. So every 2 strips is going to become 1 rosette. So again, we're cutting it at 2 inches, and now we're cutting it lengthwise. So we're cutting in the opposite direction of the score lines that we just created. And these two will make a full rosette, which you guys will see shortly. Now, in today's video, I am actually going to use hot glue. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell a hot glue gun, but you most likely have one in your craft room or your craft stash. I did not try any other adhesives, but I just want to make you aware of that because I feel like I need a stronger adhesive like hot glue when we're making something like a rosette. Now, in the end, you're going to end up with a half an inch strip left over, and you could just discard that or use that for something else. I recommend using a protected surface. So whatever you have, I'm using a craft mat here, but just whatever you have, we're going to be getting pretty messy here with inks and then later with our glue. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be adding our own color. So we're going to be making some custom rosettes. And what I'm doing is I'm going to add the color with my blending brushes. In this case, that is a small blending brush. Now, this is what I call a design as you go project, meaning I did not have it all figured out. It was a little bit more on the experimental side, and I'll give you a little bit of the backstory as to why we're making these today. I have made rosettes in the past, and I love them, but it's not something that I do all the time. It's not something that I put on projects all the time. Now, today's project actually is not going to go on a card or a treat box. This is an independent project. Now that we are into week 11, I'm recording this on October 29th, 2023. We are right on the edge of Halloween here. And I am going to be in charge of games at my son's school for the little Halloween party that they're having. And so I thought it would be cute to make little, I don't want to say like prizes, but general. So not like first, second, or third place. This would be one of those things where it's really more just about participation. So they're little. So I would want to make rosettes for everybody in the class and give them something after they're done playing the game, that I take there. So these are going to look like little ribbons, like little award ribbons or that type of thing. But really, it's just more about being festive and more about Halloween. So that is where this came into play. Now, the reason why I'm using a small blending brush here is because I had already had my orange ink or my pumpkin pie ink on it. And I didn't want to, I try to keep my color families the same with my blending brushes. So I decided to just stick with it. The problem with that is because we're laying down a lot of color, I ended up getting really messy coloring these. I went from trying to do it very carefully and softly to kind of getting a little bit more of a harsh look, and I started pulling the brush just straight across the strip and just to see what that looked like. And ultimately, you can decide in the end, but I don't really think that you can tell once the rosette is all folded up and finished and done. I think that they look really cute. Now we're going to come in with some Daffodil Delight, and this is the regular size blending brush. This is actually the size brush that I would recommend using for, you know, these rosettes, or for putting down a larger amount of ink like I'm doing here. Now, I learned another lesson, which you guys will see a little bit later when we're making the rosette here. I decided to do the color, you know, on one edge and then on the opposite end. And what I ended up doing with all of the rosettes that come after this are putting the colors right next to each other and then leaving white on the bottom. And that's because of the way that I'm going to glue my rosette and put a little decoration over the top of it. When I did it this way, I actually ended up covering all of that ink that I had just laid down for these. And so I could have, you know, left this, you know, turn this into something else and just started over again. But I really don't have a lot of time. And I also wanted to show you the way that this looked in case this is something that you want to do. You like this layout and this design. I would just recommend doing a smaller circle, right? It's really cute. You know, and you could just put your little, if you're going to use a little candy corn, like a die cut candy corn from the Tricks and Treats bundle, you could just put it right in the center. And that way you would still see your color. But I wanted to put circles in the center of mine. And so I ended up covering it. So, you know, moving forward, I decided to change the positioning of my color, but you get to see it anyway. So whenever we are going to do our hot glue, you can see how I'm laying that down, and there's like a little extra flap in the back. And so I want it to look like a continuous piece. So I'm just going to trim that off. We actually don't need that. And so I just want it to line up smoothly. So the best way I can describe it is like a mountain valley fold, and you want to make sure that they fold into each other evenly. You don't want to have that overlap there. And then once you have your two ends hot glued so that it's one continuous circle, you can go ahead and push that circle inward with whichever color you want to be the outer color. And you're going to hot glue it together. I would recommend punching your circles or having your die cut ahead of time so that you can just pop it right over the hot glue at the time. I did not have my decorative elements cut at this point, again, because this is more of an experimental phase. I was still trying to decide if I wanted to do it. So I ended up punching out a piece of a circle from the Daffodil Delight cardstock. So we're still getting that element of yellow, but it's not that ink. So you can decide how you want that to go and how you want your color combinations to be. I'm going to show you several different color combinations today. Okay, so here's the thing with hot glue that, you know, you want to be careful with it. You don't want to burn your fingers. Now, the hot glue gun that I have has two settings. It has a low setting and a high setting. I always keep it on the low setting. And then I usually will give the glue a minute before I start putting my finger near the heat, right? So when you have like a circle or a die cut or something to put over it, you know, you're pretty much protected. You're not going to get burned, right? But if you put your finger directly over the hot glue, even over a piece of cardstock, you know, it can get pretty warm. So just be cautious. Just be careful with that. Now, here are a couple of other color combinations, and I decided to speed this part of the video up a little bit more because in real time, this did take a little bit of time. And since, you know, we just showed you how to do that, it's the same exact thing. So we're going to do this where the colors are right next to each other this time. And I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, but you could use whatever works best for you. And again, I already have a small blending brush that has the black ink on it. And so that's why I'm using the smaller one. But even though I didn't lay down a ton of black on this, I actually really loved the way that it turned out. And you guys can decide. You can actually leave me a comment and let me know in the end what your favorite color combination is. I would love to hear. I was asking, you know, in the Heart of Halloween Facebook group, which is going to be ending shortly. But I was asking in that group people's favorite color combinations. I am a classic black and and orange girl. So that's what you're seeing here. And then this is where I really was getting a little bit more experimental with where I was laying the color down, how much I was laying the color down. And I'm here to tell you, you can be pretty messy with this and it's still going to look good. When you fold that rosette together, even if you do have certain areas that might look a little bit heavier or a little bit blotchy, it's really, you'll see, it's going to turn out really cute. Now, the reason why I pulled and brought my color down so far on that was because I knew I was going to use a white die cut circle in the center. And so I wasn't too concerned with leaving any white on the rosette. Okay. But again, you can decide, what you want to do here. So we did a bunch of color combinations. You'll get to see them in the end. Now, for today's project, again, this is really about having independent rosettes. You could, tie ribbon to the back of this. You could turn it into a decoration. You could actually, turn it into an actual prize ribbon, best costume, something like that. Or you could decorate a 3D box with this, right? It would be a really adorable box topper. As we're getting really, really close to Halloween here, we've done a lot of different card and 3D project ideas. So now I am venturing into something a little bit more unique in week 11. So if you do have contests or you do want to do little handmade prizes or little handmade decorations, this is the way that you can do that. Also, in week 12, we're going to be doing something a little bit different as well. So week 12 is actually Halloween week. So Halloween's on Tuesday, so we don't have much time left, but I have had such a blast doing this with all of you, and I hope that you have enjoyed this series as well. So we're still in sort of that sped up mode here. All of these rosettes were done exactly the same way, all with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of basic white, laying on our color here. This is actually Gorgeous Grape, and as I was laying my color here on Gorgeous Grape, I realized I probably should have re-inked Gorgeous Grape before I did that, because you can see that color is looking so light, it almost looks like Highland Heather. So I probably should have re-inked the pad and I would have had a much more saturated purple, but it still looks really pretty. So you can decide. That might be a good idea to re-ink the ink pads if you're going to be doing a project like this, or if you're going to be laying down a lot of ink like this. So in this one, we're doing a combination of purple and orange, which I think looks so cute. And then I'm going to be bringing in some glitter paper, a couple of different glitter papers here. But we're going to keep making our rosettes with the glue gun as well. Okay, so this particular glitter paper that I am showing you is actually still in pre-order. It will become available on November 7th. This is part of the 3-color Glimmer specialty paper pack, and one of the 3 colors is Highland Heather, and so I just cut out of the circle. The 2 circle punch sizes that I am using today are the 2-inch circle punch and the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. So on the front side, I did the glitter paper. On the back, I just backed it with white. You guys can do that, however works best for you. But you can see we have a pretty fun combination of colors there. Okay, so for the next part of this, we're going to create the tails, or basically like the paper ribbon bottom of our little rosette prize decoration. So I have a piece of basic black cardstock here, and we're going to cut 2 1-inch by 5.5 inch strips out. And I also punched 2 3/8 inch circle punches out. I think the closer that we get to Halloween, the more I want to use punches than I do dies. But it just depends on the project, right? I have to make 15 of these, and if I'm making these in bulk, I would really like to do that. So I'm also bringing in the banners Pick-a-Punch to make this little banner edge on the end of my strip. Now you can adjust the length of the strip on these just depending on how big your rosette is. But this is the concept of what it's going to look like. And I'm going to continue using the hot glue. You could probably use your Seal Plus for this or tear and tape adhesive for this part of it if you would want to, but I already have my hot glue gun warmed up, so I'm just going to keep on with that. But you can see I ended up putting my finger right into the glue, and because my glue is on the low setting, it was okay. But just be mindful of that. So learn from me. But this is basically what the rosette looks like before you decorate it. Now you could do some stamping here. You could add die cut numbers here, just whatever you would want to add. I just had a few die cut pieces here sitting here just to give you some examples of what you could put in the center. Now, because I'm making 15 of these and they're not specific to a person's name, they're just going to be, just little prizes for each of the kids. I'm just going to do like a little Halloween icon in each of the center of these rosette decorations. Isn't it cute? I absolutely love the way that it turned out. And you could add, embellishments. You could add Wink of Stella, whatever you would want to do. If you happen to get the October Paper Pumpkin kit, you could add some glitter glue to this. You could have a lot of fun with these. Now, this color combination, I actually did off screen, but this is just Parakeet Party, and then white is the second color. And I am doing that basic black circle in the 2 3/8 inch size. And I do like to put glue on both sides of the rosette and then give the glue a minute to start cooling down before I either flatten it with another, piece of paper or with my finger or whatever, I'm going to sort of flatten it down with. And this one was taking a good old time to dry, which is one of the reasons why I sped up this part. But then I just want to hold it in place. So once it's all cooled down and everything, I can leave the rosette, sitting there freely and it's no problem. And then this is our little Frankenstein head rosette. So I did a couple of those. And then here is a combination of Real Red and Memento Tuxedo Black. And this is going to be for our little Dracula. But I had not actually die cut the pieces at the time that I was filming this. And then this is actually the silver and gold glitter paper. This is an online exclusive that is available right now. It's actually adhesive backed gold and silver glitter specialty paper. It is fabulous. And it's high shine too. So this is the silver paper, of course, that I am putting in the center of this rosette. And then our little Dracula will go in the center. And then I had a piece of leftover adhesive backing removed, like the paper piece. And I was just using that to flatten the hot glue until I could figure out how I wanted to decorate the backs, because again, this was an experimental design as you go type thing. And I figured I would want to cover in a pretty way the back once the little banner flags were coming down off of the bottom of the rosette decoration. I would want to make that look a little bit cleaner in the back. And you could even put a sentiment in the back if they are going to see both sides of it. But most likely this will get glued to something for those of you who are going to be making projects like similar to this one. But this just gives you a good sense of nice, bright, fun Halloween colors. I was kind of wishing that I had done this in like Granny Apple Green or Garden Green to get a little bit more of like an intense looking green for Frankenstein. But honestly, that's the glow in the dark paper that he's on. So once the lights are off, they'll get to see that really glow like Parakeet Party does, or at least it gives the impression that it glows. So anyway, I want to thank you for being here for week 11. I hope that you enjoyed today's decoration design project. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe, and I will see you for week 12 very soon. I really appreciate all of the encouragement and the comments and the emails and everything that I have gotten throughout this series. This was the first time I ever did a series like this, and it was a really big, huge learning experience, but also a lot of fun. So we got 1 week left, and we'll be sure to finish out with a cute but quick project. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.